So it's February, so I wanted to do a dessert that kind of fit the month of February with Valentine's Day. So I thought a cheesecake would definitely work. So we found one that we think you will all love. So we're going to use cottage cheese.
It was
Isn't
like
that
dead
amazing?
silent.
Cottage cheese instead of bricks of cream cheese. Can you imagine?
Okay, so we have our cottage cheese. We use the 4% cottage cheese because if you get the lowest fat one, it's very watery. So your cheesecake really won't turn out unless you drain it.
It's still much lower in
Yeah.
calories and
Much.
fat than a brick of cream
Yeah,
cheese.
much
Definitely.
lower. I don't feel it.
Yeah, so half a cup of this, and you wouldn't be eating that much in a slice. You're getting 15 grams of protein, which is going to keep you satisfied. That's important for weight control and heart health. And in terms of calories, 130 calories, 5 grams of fat. It's like a little teaspoon of oil or fat. Not a whole lot, so not to worry.
Yeah, find the 4%.
Yeah, it's going to work better for this recipe.
So what we're going to do is we're going to add some arrowroot powder. This is going to help kind of bind it together, and it's going to reduce the amount of liquid.
Now, has anyone heard of arrowroot powder
You
before?
guys know about that?
Okay, a couple people. Yeah, so it comes from a root. It's called arrowroot.
Surprise!
It's a starch. It's used much like cornstarch. So cornstarch is a lot easier to find, and you can use it pretty much in the same ratio. All right,
We're just going to pulse it. You don't want to overdo it because the dairy will start to separate. So you just want to pulse it until the arrowroot powder is incorporated into the cheese. That's probably good. Maybe not.
And you can even whisk this. You can do it by hand.
Yeah, definitely by hand.
Oh, cool.
Food processor just helps break up all the chunks of it. Okay.
As Kellyanne's finishing that, I'm just going to start with the crust too. So why don't you tell people what's in
So the crust,
Really, really nice.
we didn't want to do a traditional graham cracker crust. We wanted to be a little bit different. So we did dates. Dates give a wonderful sweetness to it. So we mix the dates with the oats. What else did we use?
Cocoa.
Cocoa, yes, cocoa.
Chocolate, Valentine's, and of course chocolate
Definitely.
and cocoa have flavonols for heart health.
And we wanted to add some walnuts, like Christy has mentioned.
That's right. Someone asked me before the class about walnuts, and you'll see there in your nutrition notes. They, among all of the nuts, are highest in antioxidants overall. So very helpful in terms of heart health. We have a video on our YouTube page where we talk about foods that look like body parts. Kind of a funny concept, but we talk about how walnuts look like a brain when you have those walnut halves. And so a lot of research that they're helpful for brain health as well.
So how we did the crust was that we put the almonds in the food processor first to ground them into a butter. So you just have to ground them for a couple minutes, and then all the oils will come out and it'll turn into a butter. And then that helps keep the crust all together. And then we added in our dates, then our oats, and then the cocoa powder, and you just pulse it a few times until it's all incorporated. And then you put it into the pan, and you can do a pre-bake on it for about 10 minutes at about 350. So the filling, after we have done our cheese and our arrowroot powder, we're gonna add some honey, a little bit of vanilla.
And this is going to be a lot lower in sugar compared to the restaurant or store-bought versions. And sugar is something that you might not think about in terms of heart health. But having too many added sugars from processed foods in our diet or overly sweetened foods is linked to higher triglyceride levels, which is a type of fat in the blood that's associated with higher heart disease risk. So definitely, enjoying a little bit of sweetness in our foods from natural sources here and there is important for enjoying our food, but trying to keep, of course, the sweets and added sugars to a minimum.
So, and I just added an egg, so I'm just gonna pulse this a few times just to incorporate all the ingredients I added. There we go. And then we're just gonna pour it right on top of the crust. I'll let Jeremy do that. So for the topping, you can really do whatever you want to put on the top. You could use fresh fruit, you could use dark chocolate. What we did a raspberry chia glaze. So this is so easy and it's so delicious. All you do is you put your frozen fruit, we use frozen fruit, into the sauce pot with some water and chia seeds. Just let that sit for a while, let the fruit break down, and then you carefully pour it into the blender. Blend it up, and then you get a nice kind of sauce. Just pour it on top of your cheesecake, and then let it sit in the fridge, and it'll set really nicely. Then you can drizzle it with a nice dark chocolate. And this chia glaze is also really good in oatmeal. That's what I do every day. It's kind of like a jam. You could even put it on toast if you want to. It's like a healthy jam.
I love it. A beautiful color, tons of antioxidants in our berries as well, which are great for our heart health.
Definitely.
Check it out.
That's it. After it's chilled. Yeah.
Beautiful, healthier cheesecake.